So the educational services that I received from Miss Tavetta Patterson was actually life-changing in such a way that I walked away for the first time in the lifespan of my children or my child's education or educational journey. I walked away for the first time feeling heard, feeling seen, feeling as if my concerns were valid and that I was not being overspoken. I was not being pushed to the side or downplayed in any way. Let's just talk about the process leading up to the IEP. So the process leading up to the IEP was just mind-blowing, from the way that everything was detailed, from the time that, Ms. Patterson took to dissect the IEP, from the time that she took to formulate questions concerning, facts that were either seen, misappropriated, or not properly allocated for the well-being of my child. Like, there were things that she thought about that I had not thought about. There were things that came up, questions that came up that I probably never really gave thought to. And so going into the meeting, already being completely prepared for this meeting, going over the IEP, reading over all of the information, comparing it to IEPs that were in the past that he have had before, comparing it to our experiences that we've had in the past, this time was completely different. I felt so good in that meeting, just having her there, not only because of the work that we had did previously prior to the meeting, but to see the confidence, the boldness, the assurance, and the power that resonated from having someone represent me as a mother, but also represent my child in a way that had not been represented before. And it meant so much to me. It meant so much to me. I'm trying not to cry, but it meant so much to me because I have been fighting. I've been fighting for my children for a very long time. And sometimes when you're in the room and you're the only Black or brown face in the room, regardless of your level of education, regardless of your background or your experience, sometimes those that are in the room try to make you seem as if you don't know what you're asking, you don't know what you're talking about, or that maybe because you don't have this level of expertise that your concerns are not valid. And as a mother, for the first time, though I've been going through this for a very long time, my children were developmental delays. Both of them have IEPs. I've been fighting for them and advocating for them since they were in preschool. And in 8th grade, my son was now at a place where I have been fighting for him all the way through elementary school, through middle school. I've given him every assessment, every test, and either he tested at the above average or at the very end spectrum of average. And so they kept passing him along and passing him along. But still, I knew that something was wrong. Something was off. Something was not connecting. Something wasn't clicking. And I knew that in my gut. And so to have Ms. Patterson there, to see what I saw, to experience the room in the way that it was experienced this time, it better prepared me to now know what to say, what questions to ask, how to show up in the room in a different manner, not from an emotional standpoint, because it is very emotional when you're constantly saying the same thing and nobody seems to hear you. But to be in a room to assert that type of power and to command and demand in your presence what is needed and what is necessary, and for the first time to be heard. I did not think that I was just speaking from myself, but for the first time, I felt as if my son was being heard. My son had a chance that nobody else seemed to hear or want to give him. And since then, since coming out of that meeting, when I tell you these people were moving and shaking and doing things that I have never seen this type of response. I've never seen them respond this way, getting me certain resources, turning the IEP around in such a fashion that it blew my mind. And I didn't expect it because, again, I've been doing this for so long and I've never gotten this response. So my daughter, who has an IEP, it put me in a place of empowerment, in a place of authority, that when I was able to walk into her meeting, I was able to execute the same power and the same confidence, the same way that I saw modeled through Miss Patterson. And my daughter, now going into the 10th grade, for the first time, she's now going to be an advocate for her own education, where nobody else has to tell her what she needs to do, but she can make the choices that she needs to make for herself. And I know that I could not have done that. I could not have done that without the leadership and the guidance and the advocacy of Miss Patterson, and the time that she took and the detail that she had in dissecting the IEP, her ability to read between the lines and to ask questions that nobody else seemed to ask, but they were scrambling around to find answers. And for the first time, my son's voice was heard. And I no longer have to worry about the people at the table misunderstanding what it is that I'm asking. And that feels incredible. That feels incredible. That feels amazing.